we're going to review our top 5 favorite films. Criteria is the scoring, the soundtrack. Number 4, the dialogue. Number 3, performance. Number 2, story. And for me specifically, the story's momentum. And my number 1 important thing is rewatchability. And then comedy is another thing that seems to be reoccurring. Number 5 favorite film is Clockwork Orange. There's a bit of comedy peppered into the dark subject matter. Alex getting fed by the politician at the end of the movie, getting spoon fed, and he goes, and the kind of the way they behave. Set design and the cinematography is beautiful. Kubrick, Beethoven, Ninth Symphony, and Wendy Carlos's scoring. Another recurring thing in my picks are that each scene is encapsulated. You can watch the scene on its own. Number 4, Goodfellas. The soundtrack by Scorsese, the camera movement, the colors, and the colorful characters. Pesci, the funny, when he is asking Ray Liotta, why do you think I'm funny? That's a funny scene woven into this dark subject matter with high stakes. Number 3, Aliens by James Cameron. Lots of good performances, some funny moments. When Bill Paxton says to Velasquez,
"Have you ever been mistaken for a man?"
No. Have you?
Little one-liners like that. Bunch of Paul Reiser is really good in it. Lots of good performances. Sigourney Weaver's great in it, and it's dark, visually really dark, but you're still able to see things, which I find a lot of new movies. It's hard to even see anything. It's so dark. Number 2, Jaws. Again, all these encapsulated scenes. The opening scene of the girl getting killed really pulls you in. The fact they don't show the shark a lot builds suspense. Great scoring by John Williams, is it?
Yep.
Robert Shaw's performance, tremendous. Lots of funny moments, and as well as Richard Dreyfuss, funny moments, likable characters. And lots of character foils, and Rob Schneider, yeah, he's great performance by him too. Super rewatchable. I can watch it like several times in a month. So my number 1 is American Psycho. Super dark subject matter, but beautifully filmed. Lots of funny points and things. It's kind of like weird that you're laughing at. He's being such a terrible person, but he's so narcissistic and is so shallow and has such these self-esteem issues. Dry cleaner scene when he says, I cannot understand you, whatever he says, and how he's able to change his facial expressions and behavior and fluctuating through these moods. For me, it's just like a great film in itself, but it's also rewatchable, and I find the rewatchability is due to its subtle comedy and the buddy kind of thing that the guys have, and then there's nice characters like his secretary, Chloe Sevigny. She did a really good performance. Lots of good performances. Willem Dafoe. There's several scenes where he's interrogating Patrick Bateman. Awesome. Love the movie. That's my top 5.
Number 5 for me is Rio Bravo, 1957. Dean Martin, one of his first roles. He plays an alcoholic. John Wayne plays John Wayne as always, but the humor is just really sharp and quick. Same writer who did To Have and Have Not and The Big Sleep. It's paced really well. There's tension in the film. It has a great ending as well. 4 is Rope, 1948, Alfred Hitchcock. It's a great suspense story. It was an experiment with the camera. They did 10-minute takes. Acting performances, John Dahl as the villain, Jimmy Stewart as the professor who tries to solve the crime. Where he puts the camera in the film is really interesting. How they use space in the film as far as where things were placed in the set just makes it feel bigger, and it makes you feel like you're part of trying to solve the crime. It actually makes you feel like an accomplice. Originally in the film, they wanted Hitchcock to not show the murder at the beginning, but he said it's sort of like putting the bomb under the table and showing the audience the bomb, and it's gonna go off. So I like how it lets the audience in on the secret. 3, Bad Lieutenant, 1992, Harvey Keitel, directed by Abel Ferrara. Real guerrilla filmmaking. They didn't have any permits, all the locations. Written by a real heroin addict about a cop who's just totally immoral and unethical, but still you root for him. He's sort of an anti-hero. Really like how there's the World Series game going on as he's gambling, and it's sort of like Scarface in the sense he's just indulging and abusing power until you know inevitably it's gonna blow up. Number 2 is Zodiac, 2007, Jake Gyllenhaal, directed by Fincher, based on the true Zodiac killer, Unsolved Killings. So you kind of know going in that you're not going to get resolution at the end of the film. They just nail the time period. It spans from 68 to 83. Fincher's attention to detail as far as him using visual effects, for certain things like backgrounds of streets. He had real props, recreated sets from the clothing, everything, paced really well. I can just keep watching this film. Number 1 is 12 Angry Men, 1957, Henry Fonda. I know it's on a lot of people's lists. To me, it says so much about psychology of people. The performances by Fonda, Lee J. Cobb, everybody's good in the film. The sense of claustrophobia that's created with the camera. They started off kind of high like a CCTV camera, and by the end of the film, it's low, pointing upwards to increase the paranoia. It's very atmospheric with the rain, the black and white adds to the claustrophobia, and great humor in the film as well, and a great ending.
But I think also 12 Angry Men doesn't have any scoring. It might be
It has a little bit. It has
does?
very subtle. It's mostly a talky film.
Based off a play, right?
To me, it just never gets boring. Highly recommend those 5 and your 5 too.
Cool.
Right on.